Have you noticed how everything is changing in the marketplace, in the workforces? Companies are changing the way they hire people. They are changing who they keep, and they are changing the way they decide who they're going to bring on to their companies. And we can learn a lot as entrepreneurs from corporations, and corporations can learn a lot from the small entrepreneur and the small business. Here's the thing that matters. The way you're going to be hiring and firing, because it is going to happen, your teams this year is very important. And we're going to show you today what are the top 10 strategies that you can do and that you can use with AI to change your game, to change your business, because really the profitability of a business really comes down to the people. People are your greatest asset. And if you can have the best people on your team, you can grow to unlimited heights. So today, this is what we want to talk about. How do you grow and scale your business by bringing on the very best people onto your team? And the question is, do you want to bring these people on as, how should we say, do you want to do it with real people? Or do you want to bring on AI as the major way you're going to do it? We're going to show you how you can get it all done for you, how you can do it on your own. But the bottom line is you have to make changes if you want your business to grow. So what is it for you? What do you want to do? Do you want to build up new teams and really have everything in-house and have a really amazing group of people? Or are you going to actually diversify and maybe change out some roles for actually AI agents? That is the big thing that we're going to talk about today. And I want you to really get how important this is for your business. So we are going to go quickly today for Iconic TV. What we do every week when we come here is give you the strategies and the principles that are going to scale your business from 6 figures to 7 figures in 1 year or less. And we're talking profits, the money that goes in the bank, not just the revenue. Remember, revenue is vanity. Profits are sanity. And we want you to have profits. Profits is the name of the game. Now, if we want to go deeper into this, let's go really talking about what you're going to need and do. I do have some free tools if you want the tools and the checklists and the 5-star recruiting strategy that we have. All you have to do is type checklist somewhere down below and we will get that to you. My team and I will follow up. Or you can just book a quick 10-minute call. We'll look exactly at what your strategy is or where you are as far as how you're positioned with your teams. Are you just starting and just bringing people on, or are you about to let everybody go or a large portion go, or somewhere right in the middle? So this is one of our specialties. We have a whole division around this. And so I'm really excited to get this in your hands and into your minds today. So keep in mind, the less that you're involved with staff, the easier things will be. If you have to do everything, you have to hire them, you have to train them, you have to onboard them, you have to discipline them, you have to do everything, offboard them, it's going to be a lot harder for you as a CEO. As a CEO, your role is to be the lead. It is to not be the operator down here, but to be the owner, to be the person who is setting the tone and igniting the mission and the vision for your company. That's really your role. It is not to do all the dirty work. And chances are you're not going to be good at it. There are personalities that are perfect for this role, and chances are it's not you if you're the CEO. So keep in mind where you are. And we want to talk about why these hiring strategies need to evolve, because the old way of doing things, it just doesn't work anymore, right? What happened is the interviewees were so much smarter than the interviewer. And people would then be brought into a company and you're like, wow, they were so different in the interview. Why don't they last now? Why aren't they any good now? It's because people got very skilled at interviewing, and interviewers didn't get very skilled at conducting interviews and screening people. So we're going to show you how to do that so you only get the best people on your team. And we want to really talk today about leveraging AI in your recruitment, because it's such an amazing tool when you use it. And yes, AI is going to eliminate some jobs, let's be honest, right? How often do you see a yellow taxi cab? You see a gazillion Ubers, right? And Lyft, but not many taxi cabs. Certain things go away. It's just the nature of business. And if you're not on the cutting edge, then your business is going to go away. And you think about with all this AI, oh, everybody's probably using it. They actually are not using it that much. It's only 0.125% of the people actually even use ChatGPT, and that's the largest one. But when you do use this, you can save 60 to 75% of your HR costs and your time. So think about this. How many of you are overworking and overstressed and actually underpaid? So this is why we really want to focus on this. How do you attract better clients faster? This is amazing how you can do this with AI. And we have a lot of systems and SOPs and schedules and things that you can learn from us. You just have to ask, book a call. I don't know if you need an onboarding system or if you need some interview questions or you need the algorithms on how to match the role to the person. There's so much that you can do with this. It's really exciting. And I hope you watch this video over a couple times, okay? Because it's really a game changer. And I want you to understand that a lot of things are easy to actually do, right? You can automate so much of this. You can automate the initial screening process so you don't have to spend so much time doing it yourself. And like I was talking about, match the people. Get the perfect job description. You can use AI for that, and then find the perfect personality type and see how they match up. And you can use chatbots to improve the experience for candidates as well. A lot of times people don't enjoy the interview process, like, oh, here we go again. Or, here's how you know that the interviewer does not know what they're doing. The first question they say is like, tell me about yourself. Well, you don't know anything. You don't know how to do this process, and you're wasting time right there. It's not focused. So imagine if you could integrate some responsive chatbots to get a lot of this answers up front. Remember, most people only do 1 or 2 interview steps and talk to the person 1 or 2 times before they bring them on. That's a mistake. That's why so many people are struggling. And do you know what actually accounts for 65% of the lost cost in a company? And that is turnover, right? So there is a different type of turnover, and that's RTO, right? We're seeing this a lot. You saw Amazon do it. The big banks are doing it. The top 10 accounting firms are doing it. Retailers are doing it. Law firms are doing this. RTO, return to office. Good news or bad news? Well, it depends on what side you're on. It is important. If you want to have a little bit more control and management, maybe you're even thinking about your future of your company. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep it? Do you want to sell it? How you have your staff, whether they are in-house or not, can definitely affect the price of a sale and how your business is valued on the stock market if it's a public company. So return to office. This is a big deal. This is something you have to pay attention to because number one, a lot of people don't want to go back to the office. Is that right? Right. And if you're one of those and you just want to work from home and you don't want to do this, please see me. We can show you how you can take what you know and your talents and do it from home, become a business consultant without having to go back into the work. And then you can work with your existing company or other companies and give them your knowledge, but you don't have to be a slave to the office. Now, if the company or you have a company and you are bringing people back into the office, you're going to lose a lot of them because they're going to say, no thanks, I don't want it. So how do you deal with all of this? We're going to talk about this. There's something called an iconic exit, and we are going to really dive into this because are you going to have them in your world, or are they going to be off on their own dime, doing their own thing, working from home? How are you going to structure it? And how are you going to make those transitions? Make it gracefully with compassion. You don't just want to do one of those, there's your email, oh, you're fired kind of a thing. There's a really good way to make these transitions. Again, the iconic exit, if you haven't heard of it, this is our specialty. We don't have anybody in the world who can copy what we do. And just ask, how do you do this? So when you're looking at your company, you have to really decide, what's the environment I want? Do I want an environment where people can work from home? They have the flexibility. They call in whenever, Zoom calls where you're all dressed up from the top in pajamas down below. Or do you want the structure where people come in, they honor the environment and the attire and the structure of meetings, etc.? Or are you thinking do I sell this company? Do I make this more successful with people in-house or not? How am I trying to manage and run this company? Do I want to manage people, or do I just want to lead them from different places? Again, there's no right or wrong. It really depends on you, the structure of your company, your corporate culture. What are your missions and values? And if you don't have any of that, we have some really good stuff on how to build those out, how to structure your mission, your vision, your manifesto, all of that. Okay. This is really important. Why is that so important? Because the culture and that people are going to come into is going to determine whether or not they will go to your company or go to a competitor. So all of these things you have to have fleshed out. So hiring isn't just about who you get, right? The person coming in, the employee, is also now has a lot more power to decide, do I want to go with this company or not? Do they offer what I want? So you have to position yourself for the people that you're hiring, just like you would position yourself for your clients. And how are you looking at this? Are you trying to save money and maybe you need to outsource? Or are you investing big into your company and really looking at future growth and you want to bring more people in-house? So you have to decide what is the environment, but whatever you decide, definitely want to choose carefully. So if you want access to all these techniques, these checklists, these SOPs, for what is working now, not even 2 or 3 years ago, what's working right now, then just type checklist down below or go to callconnie.com, a 10-minute call. There's nothing to buy, nothing to sell. But in 10 minutes, we can look at your business like that and say, okay, this is what you need to do. Here are some resources. We have over 250 free resources you can tap into. And we want you to have this so that you can scale your business from that 6 figures to 7 figures in 1 year or less and put that $1 million in your pocket instead of in Uncle Sam's pocket, right? Okay, so what do you need to do? Some of the things that you can do is really look at the personality factor. The thing is, whoever runs a company, you can have 2 people running the exact same type of company, like a franchise, and they will have completely different results. Why is that? It's the personality factor. That's here. That's their cognition. How do they think? What's their consciousness level? And so here's the things that you want to think about. Where did they work before? What are the previous jobs that they had? Why did they choose those, right? Do you have a series of questions that you can ask that will really dig down deep and not just the surface questions of tell me a time when you turned a business around, or, which animal are you most like? There's some really stupid interview questions out there that we don't want you to use, okay? But whatever industry you're in, there's some specific ones that you want to have. And then there's some universal ones that will work for any industry that will really flesh out if you have someone who's super nice or super narcissistic. Because once you get a cancer in your organization, it can be very hard to get rid of, and it can destroy everything around you. Oftentimes, when you don't address the wrong personality type and remove it from your organization, what happens is everybody will move away from you and they will leave your company. You will lose some of the best people because you couldn't manage the personality factor. Look at the references. You must check those. Okay. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Go into the social media, look at their social media accounts and go deep. Okay. Look deep down into those to see, yes, they might be all great and rosy now because they're looking for a job, but you can go really, really deep and say, oh, that's a red flag. And then assessments. I'm going to show you some different assessments that you can do. You need to do all of this. Do not take this lightly, especially in this day and age where people can pick and choose and they just go hopping from one thing to another. So these are all little cautionary signs that you have to look out for, because there is something called predictable human behavior. This is what I studied for 12 years with my PhD. And you see, as we have more technology-driven world, the human aspect, the human relationships matter even more right now. And if you don't understand how predictable people are, you will fall into a hole. You see, when you can assess, and we can do it and teach like how you can learn in 15 seconds exactly where their consciousness level is. And then it's very predictable how they will behave. Wouldn't you love to know when you hire somebody how they're going to interact with everybody else, how they're going to be 2 or 3 or 5 years down the road? It's very important. So there's different cognitive assessments that we use. We always start with the first one, which is the SOAR quiz. This is free. You can ask for it. We can give you a link. You can give it to your people. And what it will tell you is what are the behavioral blocks that they have and how do they behave when they're in their highest element, right? And what you want to do is keep them in their highest element and keep them out of the blocks, the things that hold them back and make them become self-destructive or company destructive. And I want you to take a look at this. Feel free to take a screenshot of this so you can see all of the different ones. The Colby test is great, especially if you are looking for an entrepreneurial environment, Myers-Briggs, like INTJ, those kind of things. The Big Five personality test is awesome. The Caliper profile. You also have the Hogan personality inventory. You have the DISC assessment. Most people are very familiar with that. You can find some of these for free online. The 16 personalities is another great one. The Berkeley emotional intelligence quiz is fabulous. And the Strength Finders 2.0 is another one. There's a lot of them. You might have other ones, but we use at least 4 when we bring people on, okay? Because we always want to make sure we have a personality match, a business match, and a culture match. Now, the other thing I want you to consider is the power of video. Video is now mainstream. If you're not using video in your interview process, you really should. It's a wonderful pre-screening tool, right? The first step, pre-screen, you could go through resume after resume. It doesn't tell you anything, right? You don't even know if they wrote it, but you give somebody a video and a couple questions that they need to answer right then and there, you'll pick it up. And you also want to use video as a way to see how people are spontaneously and not planned. Okay. And so you can give them tests and things that they can do, and then have your interview on video, have other people interview them, watch the videos back and see what their speaking skills are as well. How polished are they? If you really understand the body language cues, then you will learn so much more. I recommend that you not only watch it, you watch it with the sound off and with the sound on so that you can see the difference in what they're saying and actually what they really mean, okay? So AI process stack, this is how you do this for hiring or firing. The first thing you want to look at is what do I start with, right? What are some different tools that you can use that can quickly work through this, okay? The more times, the more touches you have with your prospect and your potential candidate, the better of a hire they will be. If you only interview a couple times, have a couple steps. We have 5 steps that we use with people, and that helps us really get to know them. People are good for about 3 steps. After that, their true nature comes out, right? They can be polished for a while, but you can't hold a persona for 5, 6 interviews, okay? And again, the more you pay, probably the more steps you're going to have in your interviews. Again, if you need any details on this, I'm giving you a 30,000-foot overview for right now, and then we'll dive deep into it in some other conversations. So you start with the tools, then the AI agents that can do all of these steps for you. The AI agents can actually take, if you've got a 5-step process, it can actually do the first 3 of them 100% automated. Imagine how many more people you could get through if you could do that. And on top of that, you can do it way on the front end before you even interview. You can use it for all the ads and the postings and where you're putting it out on the marketplace as well. So you could save at least 10 hours a week in using this. Who are the operators that you're going to bring in? Oftentimes these can be outsourced, whether it's to the Philippines or India or Argentina or something like that. And then the management level. Okay, who's going to interview all these people until they get to you, and will they even get to you as the CEO? We often hear that people say, oh, I can't find anybody good. Actually, here's the translation. You're not paying anybody good. This is the number one reason. People are out there and they will happily go to the best company as long as you honor them with a fair and compensation and you treat them well and you have a great culture. But if you're feeling, I can't find anyone, you're probably being cheap. I got to be honest with you. Okay. And now, if you want help building your team, this is what we're here for. This is a specialty. And whether it's the pre-hire, whether it's just figuring out what are the different places that I can put an ad. What are the free ones and what are the paid ones and which is better? And then how do I screen? Which tools do I use? There's some great software out there I can recommend to you as far as doing the interviews or videos and automation. We have one that we absolutely love. We have AI that we use to actually test everybody and grade them. So our hands are clean. We don't touch or mess up anything until way down in the process, right? So that way we're screaming the cream of the crop. And a lot of people say, should I use an agency or not use an agency? It's a great question. And there's several considerations. My recommendation is if it's not an important one, you can use an agency or maybe for the mass screen. I always recommend keeping it in-house. Ultimately bring in your own team who can do all the work for you. And that way you have a constant cycle of looking for people. So you will have a pool of people whenever you want to tap into that rather than just when you need it. And then, of course, I want you to consider the iconic exit. We'll do a whole show on that later. And that iconic exit will help you when you're downsizing your people, and only hire the A players. That's all you need to focus on. Okay. Just look for the A players. They're the ones. Forget the B players, forget the C players. Don't even think about it. I promise you, you think, oh, it's a cheaper and I could get away with it and I use this now. Don't even bother. Stick with the A players. And if you have an in-house team and you're constantly looking, it's easy for you to get those A players. So there really aren't any staffing shortages. There's really pay shortages. So you have to understand, who do you need? What will they do? How will they start? What's your onboarding process? Why will they stay? What are you going to do to keep them? And what will you pay them? Okay, those are the key things, because if you start using some of these data-driven pay scales, you will see a 20% increase in your retention factor. So if you need any help, just book a call. It's so easy. And make sure, I want to put a little caveat on this one of the 10 strategies is the art of reference checking needs to happen. Don't skip this one. It is very important that you get it done. And make sure that you don't skip that. Okay. Show them the money, show them where and how you're going to make the money. And we want to make sure that you have everything that you need right away. Okay. So show them the money, and remember, the end is the beginning. So what you think is the end. Okay, phew, we finished. No, this is just the beginning. This is just getting started. And we want you to just get all the tools. If you need anything else from us, please let us know, and we will happily help you with all of the tools that you need. Remember, the number one way that you can ruin your business is to let inexperienced people do the hiring for you. Don't let that happen. Okay, we're here to help. If you need anything, just let us know, and we will see you next week for Iconic TV Live.